from?
Yes. So see, there are policies there. By every ministry will have their own policy. We need to integrate all that. And it's people don't do it because they think it's too complex. Actually, it is not. If all of them sit together and see, we cannot create miracles out of such large populations. It is going to be a backbreaking process to really, to raise the economic of the nation, for not only nation, for the world. So I think this is giving us an opportunity to redefine growth, to see what kind of pathway India takes, so that the incomes are more equitably spread, rather than, if somebody has to earn, they are forced to go to the city. But when they got forced to do that, the quality of life is suffering. It's not like the quality of life is going up. They are not spending time with their parents. Old people are left behind in the village, or too young and old are in the village, and the able-bodied are in the city. I mean, that's not quality of life. All of us want to be around our families. So this gives us an opportunity, and the government also. But I insist that the government should not think of providing these miraculous solutions overnight. So you can't just come out of the kind of recession that we are in by doing some knee-jerk reactions of building more dams, building more roads, giving more leases out for mining, because that is a very short-term, and it's not even a solution, because in doing so, you are destroying the forest permanently. Right. So instead of that, what we have to see is that India, nearly 65% of Indians are less than 35 years of age, which means that social capital is very robust. We have such large populations of able-bodied people who obviously are willing to work. So currently, India, the backbone of Indian economy is the service sector. And service sector, therefore, we are all city heavy, where we have to be in the city to be part of that sector. Now that this has created so much of disruption, and huge populations have gone back, there has been reverse migration. There is a huge amount of disillusionment of these people. I don't know how many of them will come back. Some of them may come because of destitution and force, but there might be at least a fairly good proportion who may just never want to come to the city again. Now, so this is an opportunity to plan, and this is not going to happen overnight, which means for the first few, it will have to be done in phases. So initially, the cities may still play a big role, but slowly, if the policies are done in such a way, we can start looking at decentralizing industry, and the future industry that we build. We have to lay certain environmental laws and certain policies in such a way that the industry today, which is polluting, we must use technology, we must use solar power, because if we have to decentralize, we don't need the grid. We can always have a very hybrid kind of a model, and thankfully we are a tropical country. The sun is present in most areas. If the sun is not there, you will have wind, you may have thermal, which means geothermal, I'm saying. India being a tropical country, there is huge amount of sunlight everywhere, at least in most of the areas. In areas where there is less sun, there will be wind, there is geothermal, there is tidal. So there are many types of energy that are waiting there to be sequestered. So we need to use this opportunity to decentralize power first, because power is the root cause of a lot of problems, like the coal thermal power plants are the ones that are the most injurious by pumping carbon dioxide, and also because of coal mining, they're destroying some of the pristine forest, which is also community land. This huge amount of displacement of people is happening because of the mining industry. So we can kill two birds with the same stone by moving from traditional coal-based power economy to decentralized hybrid models of renewable power. Industries could be much smaller, because it is and we have to put certain norms in place so that they are not polluting. There is enough technology. For the last 200 years, a lot of research has gone in, and so currently some of these industries that you see in Gujarat, in Maharashtra, and such industrial states are not up to the mark, which means they are still following the old inefficient ways of disposing pollutants or byproducts or waste. But we know there is enough and more research that if we build the industry from scratch, it is possible to reduce pollution by about 90-95%. So when you, in this new model, you decentralize industry, you rely on solar power, you also harness the unlimited talent that people have, cultural talent, which means there is huge number of artisans. Every society, every rural community are good at something or the other. You need to harness or tap into what they know. What we have seen over again many decades is that we try to homogenize everybody, which means that we want a farmer to become a carpenter. We want, when you talk of unemployment, we want them to become laborers, masons, and do things which are not their strength. But India's strength is its farming. So why should we want a farmer to do things which don't come naturally to them, and they will definitely struggle. So if we can improve the agriculture sector, make it much more efficient. Currently, it is water intensive farming that we do, but there is again technology available, lot of technology coming from Israel on drip irrigation and on ways of growing vegetables in a much more efficient way, which means hardly any pollutant, which means no organic, no pesticide, no fertilizer. The amount of water can be that is used can be brought down by a magnitude. Maybe we can do good quality farming with just 20% of the water that is currently being used. So just by improving the efficiency of the farming sector, and remember 65% of all Indians are farmers today. By doing that, the amount of pressure on the ecosystem can be slashed in a very big way. Decentralizing the industry by using the existing strengths of the communities and trying to just polish their marketing skills. Again, technology can come to great rescue of these people, because you can then do the marketing online. So you don't have the middlemen. So the amount of money that the community can make out of the products that they create can go directly to the communities. They themselves will be the artisans. So they manufacture it, they market it, and they get the money straight into their bank accounts. So we need to rethink all these things, and this doesn't happen overnight. So I'm not saying that you can destroy all the industry in the city and go back. No, there is huge amount of investment that has gone into the city. It will continue, but slowly, if you build a policy and say in the next 15 or 20 years, this is where India should progress, then we can start working. So we cannot, so it's not easy to move the power center from the city to the rural India overnight. We must, and people should be mindful of what, of this. I am also not suggesting that this happens overnight, but once we make the policy, that is why policy and long-term planning is important. You said this is where the goalpost is. I want to see that the person who is born in a remote village close to a tiger reserve is able to live there and earn there without polluting or damaging the ecosystem. If that is your starting statement, everything that you do after that will obviously fall in place. It's not going to be easy, because we have destroyed this planet constantly for the last 250 years. It cannot be reversed in 2.5 years. So there is no magic bullet on this. And so most people are going by the low-hanging fruit, and they're saying, let us continue, let us be comfortable in the status quo. But if we don't now, as I said, we will have a problem, a global problem of climate change, which will be many magnitudes larger than what COVID-19 has exposed us to. So many of conservationists and environmentalists like me have been screaming for many years, in fact decades, to slow down, to decentralize, to use renewable energy, to utilize the existing talents of people in the rural setup, to infuse life in the farming sector, to move from the traditional farming to agroforestry, so that farmers can
Microfarmers.
grow trees and forests on their land, and then they can harvest those. So huge amount, nearly 40% of all the food that we eat uh, is pollinated partly by natural pollinators. So just by doing, if you have the first statement right, pretty much everything will fall in place, and there is no dearth of technology, there is no dearth of social capital, there is no dearth of brain power in India to make this happen. All we lack is a proper long-term robust policy which understands that cities uh, cannot be the focus of everything. For instance, just think one more thing. So Bombay is a financial capital, and people think that if make a good life, then you have to come to Bombay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that Bombay is actually under huge amount of threat from climate change? It is a
Right.
coastal city. Uh, there is a huge probability of cyclones hitting Bombay. The frequency of cyclones on the coastal cities across the world has gone up. Bombay is a flat land, and so when there is a huge amount of rain, and if it is coupled with a cyclone, pretty much the entire city can get drowned. And you have seen in 2005-6 when there was this huge deluge in Bombay, uh, 200,000 lakh Indian rupees were lost to fight that. You know, the kind of damage, and it took the city that much money. I think 2 lakh crores is the kind of loss that Bombay suffered because of that one day of deluge. So if you have power centers like Bombay, like Bangalore, you're putting your all the eggs in the same basket. And with climate change, the erratic behavior of weather, these cities are going to be impacted. And once that happens, uh, the country can be crippled. So this decentralization actually will help because you don't have one single heart. Your body functions like multiple neurons. So a city like Bombay should have the same status uh, as a small rural setup. Once if you are able to decentralize this, no natural situation or calamity can cripple a country like India. But if we are going to constantly make our cities bigger, thickly populated, you are looking at some of the greatest environment disasters and then social unrest like in the country in years to come. So I think COVID-19 to me is a blessing in disguise because it can allow people, even I'm sure policymakers are right now rethinking.
Mm-hmm.
People who are listening to this program should also, I'm sure, in a logical framework, what do they think? It's very important to, that's why I'm bringing these important topics and elaborating on the answer. I could have given a one sentence answer to the question that you asked, but I don't think it is about, conjectures anymore. We need to get into action.
Right.
Policy is very, very important, and decentralization and moving away from the city is going to be beneficial to a developing country like India.